On this episode of Coin Grading for Beginners, we're going to talk about the Benjamin Franklin half dollar. But before we get into it, I'm just going to ask you to do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope today is the day that I earn your subscription. So let's get right into it. The Franklin half dollar was designed by John Sinek. With a diameter of 30.61 millimeters or 1.21 inches, in relative terms ranks in the class of larger U.S. coins, and yet its size does not render it easy to grade. The Franklin half dollar was struck from 1948 through 1963. Benjamin Franklin's portrait is depicted on the obverse, and a representation of the Liberty Bell is the dominant design element on the reverse. To satisfy the legal mandate of an eagle being on the reverse, a small eagle stands to the right of the bell. Grading difficulty stems from the many 1950s coins that look softly struck and feature less than bold details for a high relief design. Especially for beginners who have not had the opportunity to examine hundreds of Franklin half dollars for each year of issue and from each mint or production facility, the challenge can be formidable. Strike is not the only potential problem graders face when examining Franklin half dollars. Rick Tomaska, author of the Complete Guide to Franklin half dollars, warns that all fully struck Franklin half dollars do not look alike. Some have far more sharply defined detail on the bust of Franklin on the obverse and on the Liberty Bell on the reverse than others. This characteristic is from die wear of the master die. The master die is used to make multiple working hubs, which in turn are used to make multiple working dies, which are used to strike coins. The original Franklin half dollar master die was employed from 1948 through 1959. It deteriorated over the years to the point of losing all of the hair details on Franklin's head by the mid to late 50s. The U.S. Mint engravers reworked the master die, resulting in most of the details of the obverse original design being restored beginning with 1960 Franklin half dollars. However, the die rework did not fully restore the lines on the Liberty Bell on the coin's reverse, thus retaining a weakness into the last 4 years of issue. The challenge in properly grading Franklin half dollars is for graders to know the die characteristics. More than half of Tomaska's book is devoted to the date-by-date analysis of the characteristic of regular issue Franklin halves. He also refers to in-depth date analysis for grading proof Franklin half dollars. Franklin half dollars circulated widely for the first year of issue in 1948 through the mid-50s. Its respectable buying power meant few were put aside as collectibles. In 1948, a loaf of bread cost 14 cents and a gallon of milk was 26 cents. Fewer Franklin half dollars were circulated in 1963, the last year of issue, but the half dollar was still worth taking to the grocery store, where a loaf of bread cost 21 cents and a single half dollar could purchase 2 gallons of gasoline. When silver approached 50 cents per ounce in 1980, circulated Franklin half dollars shared the fate of many older circulated U.S. silver coins. They were sold for melt value, which was many multiples of the coin's face value. Consequently, most Franklin half dollars that trade in the collector market today tend to be about uncirculated 58 to mint state 63 in grade. Higher mint state grades are elusive because of the number of contact marks present in most circulation strikes. Surface preservation, the condition of the surfaces of both sides of the coins, is especially important. The Franklin portrait is centered on the obverse with a large field on either side. Contact marks in the fields are found on most circulation strikes, evidence of where the coin has collided with other coins or objects. Tiny scratches referred to as hairlines, created by abrasive substances or materials used in cleaning, are also commonly found in the fields. Imperfections may also be evident that were created on the coin's surface during various stages of its manufacture. In analyzing the state of the surface of the Franklin half dollar, one must weigh the visual impact of these imperfections and weigh the degree of severity and whether the locations of the imperfections seriously detract from the coin's overall appearance. Here in the Franklin half dollar map, red is considered worst, orange is bad, yellow is average, green is better, and blue is best. A mark in the red area is about 8 times more serious than if the same mark was in the green area. The worst places on the obverse for a mark or scratch are on Franklin's face and date. On the reverse, the worst place for scratches and marks are on the Liberty Bell. Design high points on the obverse and reverse of the Franklin dollar are highlighted here in red. High points on the obverse are on Franklin's head near the beginning of his hairline, his cheekbone and the fold of his cheek line to the jawbone, the curl of the hair behind his ear, the top of his jacket, and the center of the bottom portion of the bust. On the reverse, high points are on both sides of the lower portion of the beam from which the Liberty Bell is hanging, on the straps holding the crown of the bell, in the center of the top decorative belts or lines, on the lower belts or lines on both sides of the crack of the bell, and on the breast of the small eagle to the right of the bell. So I thought it would be fun as an exercise to try to grade this 1955P Franklin half dollar with the Bugs Bunny die error. And I'm not going to talk a lot about the error, but I bought this coin because it is very cool. I got it for a very good price, and I guessed it to be in an AU condition. I didn't give it a number grade, but I thought this was about uncirculated. So let's just see here. What I'm going to do is take this out of this 2-inch flip, and we'll grade it, and we'll put it back in here. And the reason I want to do that is because, first of all, luster has a lot to do with a coin's condition. So therefore, what we want to do is get this thing out and check it for luster. Now we kind of know just looking here that it's not a mint state coin, because a mint state coin is of course uncirculated, which means no traces of wear are detectable. But based upon what we looked at earlier, we know that that's not true. Now let's talk about an AU58. So about uncirculated. In fact, I'm going to say let's start at AU50 and see if we're really an AU coin. Because there is a little bit of luster left here. But what do? We tilt the coin in the light and we look for the breaks in the luster, right? In the high point. So an AU50 coin says that according to standard, it's 75% of the mint luster remains. Now, okay, so this is a proof, so this is maybe not the most fair comparison, but this is not 75%. So I think we can go down to the EF range, and let's just start at like an EF40. Let's go to an EF40, which would be the bottom of the EF range. So EF40, it says that there is light wear on the highest points of the design elements. Light wear, okay? On the obverse, the wear is discernible on the high points of the cheek, the hair behind the ear, and on the shoulder, okay? So, is that what we have here? Is this light wear? I don't, there's a little bit of roundness, I guess, to it. There is a discernible, both lines are discernible in the hair. All right, so let's just see if we would say, is that light wear? Is that what we're looking at? Light wear? The hair behind the ear and on the shoulder, but what about the other high points? Like the bottom of the bust here and the cheek. The cheek actually looks to be in pretty good shape. We do have a pretty severe scratch right here that goes from the ear down to the collar. That is not great. So let's look at the reverse. What does a reverse say about an EF40? It says slight wear on high points of the bell straps, the lines on the bottom of the bell, but design elements are clearly defined and partially separated. Lettering on the center of the bell is worn away, which that is certainly the case. So I think at best, I mean, you can kind of see the humps there where the lettering used to be, right? And we're comparing it to a probably what is an MS65 proof here, or proof 65. So the bottom bell lines are almost undiscernible. There is significant wear on the breast of the eagle, and the top bell lines are barely even discernible. Let's go down to a VF30. It says wear is light and all major features are sharp. On the obverse, let's go to the obverse here. On the obverse, spotty wear is evident on the jaw, cheek, and hair on the shoulder and behind the ear. Well, the thing is there's not a lot of wear on the cheek, so I think we're a little bit better than a VF30 because of that standard. But let's just look at this a little bit more closely on the reverse, because both sides of the coin have to be taken into account. It says on the reverse, 50% of line details at the bottom of the bell are worn smooth. Straps of the beam are visible, which they certainly are. And also wear is evident on the bell lettering, but some detail is visible. Well, you know, the lettering's a funny thing, you know, because you can see that there was lettering there, but it's not readable. So let's read that again. Wear is evident on the bell lettering, but some detail, that's the thing, some detail there is visible. So based on the cheek, this certainly on the obverse qualifies in my mind as a VF30, but let's talk about a VF20, where it says wear is even and moderate. The obverse is 75% of strands in the hair are visible. Well, I think is 75%, 3/4 of the hairline's visible. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So I think we're doing pretty well at a VF20 so far. Cheek lightly worn, but bold. I would say that is a bold cheek. I'm just trying to get some glare on that cheek there. So I think that I can comfortably say, well, let's just read the reverse. Bell worn but bold. It says, although most details of the beam are visible, wear is evident on the beam, and it certainly is. The wear is definitely evident on this beam. Lines flat across the bottom of the bell and near crack, and that is certainly the case here. So guys, I think what we have here is not an AU Bugs Bunny, but I think what we have here is a VF20. I think what we have here, I'm very comfortable, and I grade pretty conservatively. I think that we have a VF20 Bugs Bunny 1955 Franklin $50. And if you've watched this long and you're not subscribed, I hope today is the day that I earn your subscription. Don't forget to hit that like button. We'll see you on the next one.